Well then, paddlers, I won't be launching from here today. I'd have to be about 6 foot out before, well, 4 or 5 foot out before I could even get in my boat. And that is thick mud, right? Which means I'd be standing in thick mud and then all the mud would be going into my boat and it would be an absolute nightmare. I mean, it's a mess. Absolute bloody mess. So that's a shame. Come out early, hence the woolly hat. It's still not hot yet. It's about 6 AM and the tide is really low. I was going to go that way today, but yeah, tide's real low, hence all that thick mud and mess. So I'm not getting in there, because if I try and get in there, and I'm going to get absolutely caked in mud, and then when I get my legs in the boat, my boat's going to be thick mud, my feet are going to be slippery. Truck, it's going to be an absolute nightmare, so sod it, rather do without. Yeah, so bugger that. Tell you what I will do today though, I'll tell you about what was going on with the Pakayak problem, which has been solved. And I have to say, just in case you don't watch the full video, I love the boat, and Pakayak has been brilliant. Great customer service. I've had to jump through a few hoops, but you have to understand, I had a problem with the boat and they had to try and figure out what it was, and it's not as if I can just pop it down to the shop because they're in America and I'm in the UK. So I had to do a few things which I'll tell you about, but just in case you don't watch the full video, I'll tell you right now, love the boat, Pakayak's great, customer service is great, and they honour the warranty. Which we know a lot of places don't. So right, let's get out of this busy road, trafficy area, and I'll tell you all about it. Well then, paddlers, it's been a couple of hours and I'm home now, and just been packing some of my gear away actually. It's a shame that, because there's no wind at all, but it's one of them things. Right then, there, Pakayak. About 4 months ago, and I've already mentioned, in case you don't watch the full video, Pakayak are great, the boat's great. If you want one, go get one. Okay, I'm mentioning that now because there's a few ups and downs to the story. Right, about 4 months ago, I even mentioned it in the video, I noticed a bit of water in the back of my boat, but I put it down to, and I mentioned that in the video, I put it down to when I've disconnected the back piece, a bit of water's dribbled in or something like that. But anyway, right, 2 months ago, I'd kept getting this little problem, but I wasn't exactly sure what it was, so I thought it was me and stuff. But anyway, right, 2 months ago, I finished a paddle and I noticed there's quite a bit of water in the back. Maybe, I don't know, a mugful for argument's sake. And I thought, that's a leak. There's a leak. There's something happening there. There's a leak. So I sent an email off to Pakayak, and I don't know, a day or two later, a day later, whatever it was, I got a response saying, all the usuals, sorry you're having a problem and stuff. You'll have to fill out a warranty claim. So I went online, went to their shop, online shop, filled out the warranty claim. You have to put all the details in, obviously, and your boat number and stuff like that. And anyway, did all that and explained the problem. And I don't know, a few days later, they got back to us and they says, can you show us the water in the boat, sort of film the water after a paddle? So because of the weather and stuff, it was about, I don't know, maybe a week, maybe even 2 weeks later before I even got out again. So anyway, I finished my paddle, took the hatch off, filmed the water in the boat. There was water in the boat. Sent the video off. I don't know how long, but whatever. They got back to us to say, right, something a bit icky there, George. Don't know what's going on. So we discussed it. I'm going to cut a lot out. This video will go on for ages. Like I said, this all started like 2 months ago when I first got in touch. So we backed and forth a little bit with ideas and stuff like that. Well, I actually noticed one of my clips, my locking clips that locks the boat together, one of them, because this was the back of the boat, and the last piece, which is called section 6, the stern, I noticed one of the clips, the spring had come off, and I thought, I wonder if that's it. So I thought, rather than messing about, I know it's under warranty, but I thought I'll just order one. They're not expensive, they're about $19, something like that, and then shipping, but whatever. I thought it'll be easier and quicker just to go and order one, because I thought that's it, the spring's bust, so that's it. So I ordered this clip, and as it happens, about, I don't know, 3 days, let's just say, I've got all the emails, I could check the dates, but that's not really important. But let's just say 2 or 3 days later, Pakayak sent me another email, and I'd been dealing with sort of like the main guy, Doug, and they sent us another email saying, look George, I need to talk to you about this, it's a bit weird, can I ring you tomorrow? So anyhow, the next day, Doug gives me a call. I don't know why I did that, it's a habit, innit? Doug gives me a call, and we talk about it and stuff. And he says to me, he says, because of the way we design our hatches, because of the shape of the boat for stacking on top of each other, the hatches aren't round like a normal boat hatch would be. They're a different sort of a shape. And he says there's an hour and either end, and you have to get them lined right up down the centre of your boat. Did you do that? And to be quite honest, I says to him, I said, I didn't even see any bloody arrows, which I have now because I've looked for them. So he says to us, he says, will you try and will you double check that that hatch is 100% sealed, just in case water's splashing in that way, because the hatch won't land up right and stuff. So I thought, fair enough. I thought, you never know, it could be. Now, just before we finished talking, actually, Doug says to me, he says, I've noticed you placed it. Now remember, he brought this up, I never. He brought this up. He said, I noticed you placed an order for a latch. What's wrong with it? So I says to him, I explained about the spring and stuff like that. He said, I'll guarantee you it's not the spring. That, even if the spring went, that wouldn't make water come in the boat. All the spring is just to keep the latch up out the road for packing, really. So he said, but he says, however, he says, you've ordered one. If your spring's bust, your spring's bust. I'm paying for that. And they refunded me. Which, now think about it, they brought it, they could have just, oh, he's ordering a spring. No, won't even mention that. And I'd already ordered and paid for it anyhow, right? So I wasn't going to bring it up. But yeah, so basically, they refunded me for that straight away. So getting back to it then, which I thought was brilliant, getting back to it. However long it was, I don't know. I went back out on the water again. And when I'd finished paddling, I filmed opening the actual hatch. Now the hatch itself was completely dry. Top of the hatch side, everything was dry, but there was still water in the boat. So then when I knew, well, at least at that point, knew it wasn't the hatch. So I sent an email back to Doug with the video, so he could see. that the hatch was dry. So I said, no, it's definitely not the hatch. And by the way, I found the arrows. They're on the side of the hatch. But anyway, yeah, so it definitely wasn't the hatch, because water was still getting in. So got an email off them. I'll get back to you, George. We have to think about this one because it's a bit confusing. Fair enough. Now, what I did was, in the meantime, where section 5 and 6 join together, the back end, where they join together, I got some Gorilla Tape and I wrapped some Gorilla Tape, waterproof Gorilla Tape round, right, to seal that gap completely, because I thought it must be getting in where they join. There's no other places, there's no holes in the boat or out like that. Went for a paddle, came back, and as it happens, I filmed it. Right? Opened the hatch, no water in. So I knew for a fact it was getting in that gap. Right? There'd been a bit backwards and forwards in the meantime, but like I said, I'm cutting this short. Right? But there was no water in the hatch, so I knew that it was getting in that way. So I sent the video off to Doug and an email, and he said, right, yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? He says, can you send us photographs of the gasket on the top of section 5 where they're joined together? Great. So get the boat out, take photographs of the gasket and everything, and Doug gets back to me and he says, we're 99.9% convinced that's the problem, because the gasket doesn't seem to have been fitted correctly. It looked like it had been stretched. Right, we're going to send you a brand new gasket and that'll solve the problem. And they actually sent me a video showing how to fit it, and he says in the video, he says it looks like when it's being fitted, it's being stretched and it sort of shrunk a bit, and there was a gap at the top on my boat. There was a gap, so maybe, well, that was it. They said, we know that's it, so we're sending you a new gasket. So I thought, great, finally solved, problem solved. And it took a couple of weeks to get here, but in the meantime, funnily enough, it was about a couple of days after getting the email about the gasket, I went out for a paddle, and that was when I hurt my back. Remember when I just twisted wrong? And funnily enough, I got in touch with somebody who I know, and I said, look, I'm getting rid of the boat, it's too heavy for me, I might buy the lighter version or whatever. Do you want to buy it? Because I wasn't worried about it leaking, because I knew when that new gasket arrived, I'd just put the gasket in and problem solved anyway. You get me? But as it happened, he just got a boat, so didn't want another one. Which turns out I was really pleased about, because I was just acting at that point because my back was killing me. Soon as my back got better, I was bloody glad I didn't sell it. So I was really, really, really happy. The guy had just got a boat and he didn't want another one, obviously. But because if I had sold it and when my back got better, I'd have been kicking myself. Alright, so I'm really glad he didn't want it, because as I say, as soon as my back got better, I was glad it was still there. But anyway, a couple of weeks later the gasket arrives. I fit the gasket according to the video, go out for a paddle, and luckily he didn't buy it because the thing bloody leaked again. Oh no, what's going on here? It's still leaking with a brand new gasket. So it is a good job that he didn't buy the boat, because I'd have put the gasket in thinking I'm selling him a perfectly good boat. But anyway, like I said, I'm glad I didn't sell it anyhow, especially now. But yeah, so I get back in touch with Doug at Pakayak, explain to him, look, I put the gasket in and it's still leaking. And of course, I get my words, I get a message back. Doug's pulling his hair out, he's getting frustrated, I'm getting frigging frustrated at this point. I'm getting peed off and he's getting annoyed because he can't figure out what the bloody problem is. And they're trying, don't get me wrong, they're trying. So, yeah. Oh, Oh, that don't matter. Right, just other stuff going on, but I'm keeping this as short as I can by telling you the full story anyway. Yeah, so I go out for about another week or so later, whatever it was. I go out for another paddle and I put a load more tape round, and I film myself putting the tape round, showing exactly where I'm putting the tape and everything, right? And then I actually filmed myself from on the water. I kept the camera running, no jump shots. Kept the camera running from on the water to out the water to opening the hatch to filming the water in the hatch. You get me? Just so they could see, right, from the water to the boat. If you know what I mean. Right, and I sent them that, and yeah, water's getting in. We understand the tape, so we know where, but they couldn't figure out why. Now they wanted me, and I wasn't able to do this. I couldn't figure out a way of possibly doing it. Right, they wanted me to put the boat in the water, get in the boat, and have somebody else film inside the hatch, leave the hatch off and film, so they could actually see exactly where the water's getting in. But I couldn't do that. As you know, I paddle alone, but there's no way I could figure that one out. And they said something about having a look at it through some sort of Google Meet or something. I didn't know what they was on about, to be honest. It was some googly thing, right? But I didn't understand that. So anyway, they got the video, they got back in touch with us, and Doug rang me up again, and he said, look, he says, well, we don't know what the hell's going on. And so I actually says to him at this point, sorry, just beforehand in the email, I said, look, section 5 and section 6 need replacing. The water's obviously getting in between that gap, so don't know why, but they need replacing. And then, as I say, a couple of days later, Doug rings me back up, and he's not happy. I don't mean he's not happy with me. I mean he's not happy because he don't know what the hell's happened. He can't understand it. It's never happened before. He's never ever had this problem ever with any of his boats, so he don't know why, and I can't do anything else to help. You get me? And to be quite honest, I thought they was going to say ship it back to us, and I was dreading them words because I thought it would be an absolute nightmare trying to arrange shipping and stuff like that, and it probably cost a fortune. But they didn't. They didn't. Right? Doug actually turned round to us and he says, we're going to send you, right, half a boat basically, section 5 and 6. We're just going to ship you out half a boat. Right? And they actually got back in touch with me, I'd say 4 days ago, I think it was. Doug rang me up again. We spoke about it. Oh yeah, and they sent me an email basically saying, we've got the boat, they just have to connect all the clamps and stuff like that, and then they're going to ship it out. So hopefully it'll be with me in, I don't know, a week, maybe 2 weeks, something like that. As it is now, it's the 17th of May, so I'm hoping it'll be, well, it will be here before Scotland. That's one good thing. But yeah, so the problem is solved, so to speak, because at the moment, the back of my boat now, the two pieces are solid. I've put silicone sealant round. Rather than putting that Gorilla Tape on every bloody time, I've just left the boat connected, that part. And I just pack half of it in the bag and put the other half just next to it in the back of the car. Fills the car up, but you know what I mean. And I put a lot of silicone sealant, that marine grade whatever it is, A3 or whatever, marine grade silicone sealant round, just so I'm not messing about with Gorilla Tape all the time. Because it was costing me, I used 3 rolls of Gorilla Tape. I've had to buy 3 rolls of that bloody stuff, because at the end of my paddle I'd rip it off, pack the boat away, next day I'd go out or whenever, put more on, And in the end, the penny dropped and thought, just leave the bloody thing connected. And that's why I got silicone sealant and just sealed it all up. But yeah, so anyway, there's your story then. So I've had to jump through a few hoops for Pakayak, but as I said right at the beginning of the video, I can understand that. It's not as if I can just take the boat down, they can look at it. They need to see it and talk about stuff and try and figure it out, you get me? Right, because imagine if right at the beginning I demanded a new this and a new that, and they sent me a new, and it turned out, and it was a gasket, cheap little gasket. So they have to be able to figure out what was wrong first. Right, now I'm not saying if you get one you're going to have the same problem, because like I said, they'd never heard of this before. That's why it was so complicated and frustrating for him and for me, because this was sort of like a new thing that had never happened before. Right. But the good thing is, right, there was great about it. They tried and tried and tried to sort it out. Right, and then when they couldn't sort it out, they said, we're just sending you a new part. Right, so they're basically sending me half a boat. You get me? Hope it's the same colour. No, so they're basically sending me half a boat, but they did try. So as frustrating and as annoying, and it was annoying to be honest, right? As frustrating and annoying as it was for me, well, and Doug, I suppose, right? At least they did the best. They tried everything basically, and honoured the warranty. They're sending me, like I said, the new parts, half a boat, basically, as I've said, half a boat. So there you go then. Well, the bottom line is, if you're thinking about buying a Pakayak, one, you know I love it. I love that boat, right? And I'm so happy my back didn't confuse me enough to sell the thing. But yeah, so it's a fantastic boat and a great company. They really you know what I mean? So if, which you won't, but if you had any sort of a problem, I don't know, whatever, one of the straps came off or the handle or whatever, right, I'd say I'd guarantee you, unless you've done it yourself, you get me, or it fell off while I was cutting it with an axe. Right, they'll be helpful, they'll be fantastic with you. Right, and unlike some places who I'm not going to mention, you all know, right, who are not helpful with rubbish customer service, but I have to say Pakayak have been brilliant, right, and the boat's brilliant. So if you have to one, get one. You won't be disappointed. Okay then, I'm going to leave it there. It's turned into a long one. I did cut a lot out because there was a lot more back and forth between me and Pakayak. I send emails, they'd send emails, can you this, can you that. I sent at least 4, maybe 5 videos. We had a problem with one video, it didn't go through. One video had no sound, and there was a lot of back and forth. But, you know what I mean? It's just one of them things. It'd have been, if I lived in America, I'd have just took the boat, they'd have looked at it, and they'd have said, oh yeah, there you go, and it'd have been sorted. But when you're in a different country, it can be a lot more awkward to get things sorted. Okay then, paddlers, I'm going to leave it there, and yeah, so I'm a bit annoyed about the weather, not being able to get out, but because it's gorgeous. But that tide, I'd have got covered in mud. I'd have got covered in thick mud. Not to mention all that gravel. You notice there underneath me boat, I'd stuck a load of, I keep saying keel tape. It's not proper keel tape. Now, if you're after some proper keel tape, right, there's a company, there's some called gator tape. Right, very expensive, right, but it's really, 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 really good stuff. The stuff I put on is more of a stick-on tape. Well, it is a stick-on tape, but it's like a thick rubbery stick-on tape. So it does the job great because don't drag your boats anyhow. Alright, so if you just got it resting on a bit of rocks or stones, it'll help. But you saw that was all thick mud and gravel. I wasn't messing about with that. Anyhow, yeah, I'm going to leave it there then. Hope you enjoyed, well, I say enjoyed, not to enjoy. Hope you enjoyed the story. There you go. Hope you enjoyed the story. And now you know everything that's actually happened. Yeah, I didn't want to say out earlier over the last few couple of months, because even though I've been a bit frustrated, and I have mentioned I've got a problem with the boat and it's doing me head in, alright? You've seen I've still been out on the water, but I didn't want to say anything until everything was finished with, because it wouldn't have been fair. You get me? It wouldn't have been fair to Pakayak. You have to give companies a chance to sort things out and everything. You can't just say, oh, I've got my boat's leaking. Everyone's going to think it's a rubbish boat. You get me? So you have to get the full story out, and I couldn't tell you the full story until it finished. But there you go then. I love it, and a great company. Right, I'll catch you later, paddlers. Cheers.